yesterday something happened to me that sort of destabilized me. Like it just scattered my system. It just messed me up pretty bad. So there was heavy downpour yesterday, and this has never happened in the history of my owning an apartment before, or living in an apartment before. I've never lost a key before in my life. I got home seconds to when the rain began, and we discovered we could not find our key in the vehicle. Oh, goodest thing, a neighbor of mine was around, so the neighbor opened the gate and let us in. But we could not gain entrance to our apartment because we could not find our key. And so I called everybody. I called the office. I called my significant other, my husband, and I'm like, where could this key be? This has never happened before. And just days back, I had that premonition. Key. Something kept telling me key, key. Are you with your key? Did you have your key? And all of that and all of that. Long story short, I tried, using a knife, but it was that type of, heavy duty security padlock. And I just found that I could open my front door with a stick. And I discovered that the key was just on top of my AC, the air cooler. And I'm like, okay, what do we do now? How do we get this key out? I tried putting sticks together to bring the key. Alas, it didn't work. In fact, at some point I was thinking of putting my little one into the protector and directing her to get the key. And I knew that was going to be an effort in futility. So I simply went to a carpenter to help. And that took hours. You know how you're done with work and you're rushing home to relax, and you just planned out your day that you nap for like 2-3 hours and then everything else continues. Well, all of those plans, well, good to see we found the carpenter who helped us gain entrance to our apartment. And that was how my yesterday just destabilized me. But we are here now and we'll make the most of today.
For more talk, news and sports, stay tuned to Nigeria Info.
sunny side. We're looking at religion today. I know some of you don't like it when we go there. You know, you're already saying, Denise, don't go there. Come out hand for that matter. But relax. Between faith, reason, and practice. Traditionally, faith and reason have each been considered to be sources of justification for religious belief, because both can purportedly serve the same epistemic function. So this is it, yeah? What is belief without reason? What is reason without faith? But then again, we have fanaticism. And it sort of seems like some people have taken this religious thing to the extreme, so much so that they have lost their sense of reasoning. I have two stories I would share with you. And feel free to share as many stories as you have possibly come across. So I start with story number 1. A particular family was searching for the fruit of the womb. 15 years after getting married, she finally got pregnant. And guess what? She was pregnant with twin babies. You know, the for your shame, I will give you double portion kind of twins testimony. Then her water broke before the right time for labor. Guess where this lady went to? Yes, she went to a church to go and pray. And she stayed there for 5 days. Then she came to the hospital and it was confirmed that both babies were dead. Now, if you're in the medical field, or if you have ever gone through the experience, or you know someone who has been pregnant with multiples, in most cases, multiples do not stay till the 40 weeks mark. Multiples would usually come out preterm. Okay? So you're looking at from 34 weeks to 35 weeks or thereabout. Sometimes they stay till 37 weeks, 38 weeks, 39 weeks. I have rarely heard of cases where multiples stay more than the 40 weeks mark. It's a thing. I don't know how it does happen. And usually when they come out, you know, the weight will be, because it's a multiple birth, obviously. So if you've been giving an EDD for maybe 280 days after conception, or when it has been stipulated that you conceived, if you're pregnant with more than one baby, your labor may happen before that time. I'm sure if this lady had gone for antenatal classes, they would have taught her that particular very, very important aspect of the journey to motherhood. So if her water breaks, there's signs of labor, okay? Water breaking is one of the signs. There's this mucus plug that comes out. That's another sign. The contractions will start, and every other thing follows. Sometimes they all happen all at once. At other times, they will happen in succession. This happens, then this other thing happens, then the other thing happens. And then they'll tell you, this is when you should come to the hospital. If you come at this time, we probably will give you a hospital bed and we will monitor you. But it may not be the time. So you stay in your house, you come, we check you, we either tell you go back home or we tell you to wait. Either ways, but when you notice something, you come to the hospital, right? So why wasn't the hospital the first point of call when her water broke? One will begin to imagine. For someone who has been expecting these babies for the past 15 years. Then there's another story. A writer has narrated how his employee's brother refused medical intervention because of his religious beliefs. Obinna Adewe took to his Facebook account to write about the terrible devastation religion has cost us. So what was he talking about? Follow me. He explained that the brother of one of his employees fell from a tree while pruning it. He was admitted to the hospital and the writer loaned them money for surgery. However, the surgery kept being delayed because the injured man, who is a member of a particular church, refused to undergo surgery if blood transfusion would be involved. His church members visited regularly, bringing him fruits and vegetables to ensure he had enough blood for the surgery. But when doctors said blood transfusion will still be needed, the injured man opted to return home and remain paralyzed rather than going against his religion. So this is the story, as it were. Let me read it the way he said it. Let me tell you a shocking but sad story. After you read this, you'll further understand what terrible devastation religion has cost us. So last December, a brother of one of my workers fell from a tree. He had climbed to prune a tree for someone in exchange for 1,000 naira. It was a very tall tree, the one we call Akputu. His spinal cord was shattered. He needed surgery. Doctors said he would not be able to walk ever again. So the surgery was just to enable him to be able to sit upright in a wheelchair, else he would only lay on his back forever. My worker, a bricklayer, spent all his life savings buying medications and paying for expensive scans. By the end of January, I wanted to know why the surgery hadn't been done. My bricklayer said the surgery will cost 1.5 million naira. Having seen how he'd been suffering spending his time at the hospital since 22nd December 2023, I offered him a loan for 1.5 million naira. With the money, he went back to the hospital to commence the process for surgery. 2 weeks after I gave him the money in late January, I inquired about his brother, thinking that the procedure had been done, only for me to learn the shocking news. So my mocker made some deposits with the money, yet the surgery wasn't carried out. Day after day, he went to the hospital and doctors kept postponing the procedure. He got angry, and while he was yelling and screaming at the doctors, they told him why. He was yelling and screaming at the doctors, not knowing it was his brother that was a problem. Apparently, his brother, the one who fell from the tree, is a member of, I don't want to mention the church. Every day, members of the sect came to see the young man at the hospital with food and fruits and cooked vegetables. They refused the doctors from carrying out the surgery since he would need blood transfusion. The boy told the doctors that if he was going to undergo the procedure, he would only do so if he was not to receive blood. The doctors refused. They said it was a delicate and complex procedure and no one would operate on him without giving him blood. So that was why the sect were bringing fruits and vegetables. They believed that if he ate enough vegetables and fruit, he would have too much blood. The doctors could carry out the procedure without him losing any at all. But others argued that no matter the amount of that, doctors will need blood. No matter the amount of blood he had prior to the surgery, they would need to have blood at hand for the surgery. My worker, who is a Catholic and who had been oblivious of the entire situation, was shocked. He went to his brother and asked him. That one said he preferred to lay on his back all his life than consent to receive blood during procedure. His brother donated him to the church people and left him there at the hospital. Yesterday was 2 weeks since he was donated to the church, yet he refused to change his mind. Now the church abandoned him there. So his brother went back to the hospital, got him discharged, and brought him home. He's at home on his back and will remain so till the God of his church heals him without surgery. I had to bring this story in details so you can understand how deep this conversation can get. And I intentionally left out the name of the church for a redenomination. It's religion as a whole. The doctrines that we hold there, the dogma, the belief systems of the religions that we belong to. How can we successfully separate these beliefs from common sense. Because common sense will tell you to do this. Religion, on the other hand, is telling you to do that. But for your own sake, you would have to reason things for yourself, right? Then comes the conversation, faith, reason, and practice. Is it every doctrine that you hold thereto? You don't question, you don't reason, you accept wholeheartedly. Are there instances that will warrant you to go away from this set of beliefs to do that which you have determined right for yourself and for those you hold there? Let's talk. 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0002. We also have 0817 923 0003. Again, 0817 923 0003. WhatsApp and Telegram number is 0809 030 6416. 0809 030 6416. You can join the conversation on X. Our X handle is at Nigeria Info page, and our Facebook page is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. A call screener is in standby to take your calls first before passing you on to me in the studio. So when you do call, the first voice you would hear will not be my voice, but that of the call screener. So it's either you're calling or you're sending a message. Now, like I will always say, it's okay when you listen to our conversations. We love it when you do, all right? You're the reason we turn on the microphone every single day. However, it is far more interesting when you can be a part of the conversation by either sending in your messages or calling at the right time. Now, I see some messages on Facebook already. Johnson Ime Ayibaifie says, that's really amazing. Sterling Rental says, nice topic. Icha Ife Chuko Oko says, good afternoon, Nigeria Info. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Jadi Ikena Chuku says, we are deeply into religious hypocrisy in Nigeria, which has brainwashed us too much. Religion is all about the heart. Nigerians are religious hypocrites and tribal bigots. We have allowed religion and tribalism, ethnocentrism to brainwash us. It's really pathetic. I'm too educated to be that religious and tribalistic. We have taken it too far to the extent of division instead of rationality. No be religion develop Europe and America, Asia. Instead, common sense. I'm texting from Benin in Edo State. Thank you, Daddy. But then again, how can we successfully separate these things? Because sometimes it's about the doctrines. At other times it's about what your religious leader says. I once had the conversation on air about HIV. This was sometime in December. Is it that it happened in December 2019 or December 2018? I can't remember which is which now. But it was seen, in short, a particular man of God, a bishop, called in during the show and said he will never permit his church members to go for HIV testing. This was what the bishop said. And I asked him a simple question. Why? And he said HIV is a punishment for people who are immoral, who are soaked in iniquity and immorality. I wish I could get the off-head dub. If it was possible, I would have. And then played it for us. I can't remember if it was on Let's Talk. I think that conversation was on Let's Talk because it was centered around World HIV Day. And then I had to explain. I said, sir, he's a bishop. I had to respect him. Is it possible? Have you ever thought about the possibility that someone who is a virgin, someone who had absolutely nothing to do with immorality, can contract the virus? And he said, no, it's immorality. And I said, okay, how about innocent children who were born by mothers who had the virus and, they sort of contracted it. What would you say about those people? And he has said his own, that no church member of his will go for HIV testing. And I'm thinking, if this man of God has maybe about 10,000 church members, all 10,000 church members do not know their HIV status. That's the possibility, okay? Sometimes before marriage, some churches will go tell you to do premarital testing. Check for genotype, check HIV status, check for blood group and all that and all that and all that. It means that will not be part of the testing for intending couples. So if the church members believe their pastor so much, no matter the campaign or level of awareness created, or the whole HIV is not a death sentence thing that is being, announced, there are people that will still not want to get tested. They will never know their status. Religion, common sense. Where and how can we successfully separate them? I don't know what's happening to the phone lines now. I don't want to believe it's because of the heavy downpour, but keep trying the numbers. Again, 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. Once again, WhatsApp and Telegram number is very much available if you're still unable to get through to us via the phone lines. How about people who have lost their babies because they refuse to go through cesarean section? And this is solely because they were told that they would deliver like the Hebrew women. And the Hebrew women did not in any way do cesarean operation. They must deliver like the Hebrew women. Adindu Chiemeka Evans says to successfully separate religious belief from common sense, encourage critical thinking and evidence-based reasoning, promote education and exposure to diverse perspective, foster respect for differing beliefs without judgment, advocate for the separation of religion from government decisions, encourage personal reflection on beliefs and values, foster open dialogue and understanding between individuals, develop ethical frameworks based on universal principles, emphasize the importance of scientific method while acknowledging its limitations. Well done, Denise Dennis Water. Thank you, Adindu. Dennis from Ozwaba. Oh my God, Dennis. Please do well to call back. Shola from Eneka. Welcome, Shola. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation.
Hello, Denise. Good afternoon. Nice to hear your voice.
Nice to hear your voice too, Shola. Talk to me. MC Choco says, tribalism has really eating up most of our Nigerians, not help to non-ethnic. I don't understand. We're not talking tribalism. We're talking religion here. Religion. John Manson says, yes, I know someone who has HIV and she is pregnant. Interesting. Larry,
about pastors not allowing their members.
Larry from Rumosi, welcome to the sunny side. Go ahead, Larry.
Thank you. Looking at the issue you're saying about a pastor that does not allow their members.
Hold on, Larry. Wait. Did you listen to the conversation from the beginning?
Not really from the beginning. It's where I heard you. I wanted to start from, but are you going to let me know what happened from the beginning so I know what to say?
Yes, so that you don't hinge your statement on the pastor alone.
Okay, let me hear you, please.
We're talking religion. Between faith, reason, and practice. And the question I'm asking is, how can we successfully separate religious beliefs from common sense? The pastor who did not allow his church members go for HIV testing is one example. I also shared the example of a particular man who will be paralyzed for life because he needs surgery, and the surgery will need blood transfusion. And his church and their doctrine do not believe in blood transfusion. So he rather chooses not to be undergo surgery. There's also the lady who lost her twin babies because her water broke before due date. And she rather went to a church and stayed there for 5 days instead of going to the hospital. And when she got to the hospital after 5 days, the twin babies were dead. This was someone that was looking for children for the past 15 years. So do you understand what the conversation is about now?
I get the scenario now. So the question is between faith, belief, and what?
The topic, listen, Larry, the topic is between faith, reason, and practice. But the question is, how can we successfully separate religious beliefs from common sense?
Okay, religious belief from common sense.
Okay, Larry, you may have to think about it a little bit more before you call, or do you want to go ahead?
Okay.
Thank you. I needed us to have all the details before we call, so we're not just jumping in to the conversation, okay? Zion from GRA, welcome to the sunny side. Talk to me.
Good afternoon to you, D-Square.
Good afternoon to you, Zion. Go ahead.
The only factor we can use in separating these items you just mentioned is when that individual has a job or a business and there is money in his pocket. If this factor is not considered, this issue of religion will be there, faith will be there, and so all shenanigans. And it's unfortunate that you see these things in this environment where poverty and illiteracy is on the prevalence. I stand to be corrected. These stories you just narrated now, it happened in this part of the world, not in America.
Okay.
Where there is insurance for their health, there are subventions on their commodities and daily living, and there is subsidy for most of the activities. You will not hear this kind. When the individuals become so jobless, they look at the church or the religious organization like a place for them to go waste their time, or that is where their problem lies. And when they have limited cash, go to the hospital, they say, no, our church, no, they practice them. Just like, for instance, you ask them to eat food, they will tell you, sorry, we don't eat meat because meat go pain my teeth. No, they don't have money to buy the meat.
Okay. All right, thank you, Zion. I have Michael from Imo State. So sorry, Michael. A plethora of WhatsApp messages. Still have some of them on red on Facebook. Abie Pepple says it's quite unfortunate how some people have allowed religion to destroy their lives. Where in the Bible is it written that God is against blood transfusion? Some people lack wisdom. Hi, good day. I was doing my internship at a hospital in Aba last year when I met this girl. At first, everything was going well until one day I invited her to the hospital where I was resident. She bluntly refused, saying she can never be seen in a hospital. I later learned she's a member of a particular religious denomination. She even told me she cannot marry a medical practitioner. Interesting. Michael from Imo State, welcome to the sunny side. Talk to me.
Yes, good morning. Good afternoon, Didi.
Good afternoon, Michael. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
All right.
You cannot actually mix faith and religion with sometimes with common sense. You see, when Jesus Christ raised Lazarus, who had stayed 3 days in the grave, it did not make sense. So sometimes the spiritual principles don't make sense in the physical. So actually it is when some of these things are carried to the extreme that it begins to affect the generality of the public, that government intervenes and places some restrictions, so that there can be tolerance and there can be sanity in the system. So, but when you try to talk about faith itself is evidence of unseen reality. So you cannot physical common sense sometimes.
All right, thank you, Michael. Didi, sometimes it is better for people to learn the hard way so that the lesson sticks. I have learned to stop trying to save people from their karma because it's a waste of time, energy, and other precious resources, and they'll still turn on you. That woman who lost the twins is not fit to be a mother. Capability to be a mother is not by age or how long a person has stayed in marriage. There may be a listener who needs to hear this. The reason your child has refused to come is because you don't have sense. You're not being tormented by any witch or wizard or village people. It is you. Wow. Clinton from Meneka, welcome. Talk to me.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The topic at hand, my dear. I don't know what to do to some kind of faith that people do practice. Even the Bible didn't take it to that length. God provided every substance, every tree, every fruit, every root for a purpose, which is for curing of a disease and a sickness. But I wonder how a particular denomination will just come out and say their faith is against this, that this is happening. I don't know where they get that from. God gave us authority to make use of all those things for our benefit and for our healthy living. But I guess it marvels me when churches come out and say our faith is against this, our faith is against that. Huh?
All right. Thank you, Clinton. Didi, you seem to be assuming the hospital didn't tell her that multiple births don't usually get to 40 weeks before the water breaks. I think I already explained it. I mean, if she attended antenatal classes, that's one of the basic things they will tell you when they want to discuss things like signs of labor and all of that. I mean, if you've ever been to antenatal class, if she was, they must have told her that. We're going to commercial break. Stay tuned.
Anywhere Clara enter like this, people must give her compliment.
The doctor. Then when something goes wrong, as it always does, they rush to the hospital. By then the baby is in distress or dead. The mother is dead or almost dead. And the World Health Organization will add her to their maternal mortality rate statistics. As if there is no sane or competent doctor in Nigeria, not realizing that a rabidly religious woman with an equally unwise husband chooses to play Russian roulette with her life. Religion, especially done the Nigerian way, is a cancer that encourages senseless, harmful, and wicked practices. Then in Abuja, we have women who say they are looking for fruit of the womb, eating, drinking, and rubbing all kinds of concoctions because a so-called prophet told them to. We're not even counting the ones who are sleeping with the so-called prophets. I'm like, y'all are really playing yourselves like this in this country whose healthcare system is dancing Owigiri. In this life, you will have peace if you marry a man that hasn't outsourced his brain to religion, so-called spiritual fathers and mothers, or what people will say, but then such men are looking for sensible women who are on their wavelength. Lydia says not believe... Okay. Lydia deleted her message. Even the God said in the Bible that his people die because they lack knowledge. Ignorance is the bane of all these inhumane religious beliefs. Education imbibes in us the critical and analytical mind to place things in order. Anene Kenechi from Abba. My advice to Nigerians is that as you pray, make sure you work. It's your work that gives life to your prayers. Any innovation in this physical world is God's answers to our faith in Him. If you're thirsty and you refuse to drink water, then you will die of thirst. But when you fetch a cup of water, you quench the thirst. As you pray, work. Right now from Woji. Dear, good afternoon. I pity the man who is affected by this accident. He has allowed religion to use him. God is a wise man. That's why He gave the knowledge to persons in that field. But since the advent of religion, I would tell you it has killed many before their time. Someone is sick, and instead of visiting a hospital, he or she will be drinking oil. I pity for Africa. Common sense, they say, is not common. Emeka from Igrita. Suki Fubara says, so we are human beings first before we follow a religion, either willfully or by personal conviction. There are lots of senseless things people do because of religion. Some say they operate on heaven's economy in Nigeria. I wonder how that works. It does not make sense for someone not to take medicine because they believe they can be healed without medicine. I wonder. Well, religion could leave someone with many questions. That's why faith is not questioning, but following. May God help us to think clearly and show love to humanity. Good afternoon, presenter. Any doctrine that is against blood transfusion is never a good doctrine. In my community, her husband lost his beloved wife because he was denied donating blood to his wife. These couples have Jehovah's Witness, Ador, Olebari, Gabriel, Connor, Bwe. Okay. This one says, good afternoon, Nigerian. I simply think Africans are not educated enough, coupled with poverty level and the poor standard of living. Even the Bible says faith without work is dead. Contend with them in battle. A preacher once said, God doesn't work with emotions, only your word of faith and work, positive and rational work. Good day, Didi. My neighbor of 29 years died because doctor told her not to try labor, but her sister took her to a church where she spent 3 days.
Information is a two-way thing. Nigeria Info, it's your turn. Let's